My name's Andrew Smith, I'm the game designer on Tango Fiesta, and you're watching Eurogamer.
In a world where no one has answers, one man has all the questions. And that man is Eurogamer's YouTube editor, Ian Higton. Greetings gamers, I'm Eurogamer's YouTube editor Ian Higton, and this is Tango Fiesta. Tango Fiesta and Eurogamer have a bit of history, and really you could say that without Eurogamer's EGX Dresd Expo, Tango Fiesta may never have existed. The origins of Tango Fiesta make for a pretty cool story though, so I'll let one of its creators, Andrew Smith from Spilt Milk Studios, tell you all about it.
So we were born here last year, 9 months ago I think it was. Creative Assembly and Resd held a jam. We applied as Legion of the Jammed, and it felt really peculiar because we jammed together as a team before. We came together for this, and we were deciding on what music we were going to jam with. That's kind of how we bond, and we were going for an 80s playlist at the moment that they announced the theme, which was pulled out of a hat, and it was the 80s. So it kind of felt special even back then. And yeah, we riffed on it. 8 hours later, we had a bit of it was a comedy kind of effort, but it got a good response, and it was enough that we thought maybe there's something here. So fast forward 9 months, and we've got a publishing deal, and we're back here on a real stand. We had a talk. It's blowing me away, frankly. The support's been fantastic.
Okay, so we've heard about its creation, Andrew, and we've seen it in action, but can you tell us what exactly is Tango Fiesta?
Tango Fiesta is a homage to every great action movie from the 80s in top-down two-stick cooperative shooter form. So the story is that every single 80s action movie that you know and love actually happened, but all to one guy, and of course no one would believe that. So when he finished with his time travel and fighting aliens and saving the world infinite amounts of times, he got back to his own time in the 80s, and the only people that would believe him were movie producers, and we all know they like to exploit people, so that's what they did, and he never got any credit for any of the stories. So this is the true story behind all of those classic films. It started with a homage to Predator in particular, and a particular scene where they love to shoot the jungle for a good 30 seconds. And we're including Commando in there, we're referencing some Mad Max, a bit of RoboCop, basically anything that involved Arnie or Sylvester Stallone or explosions. So each sort of movie world will be made up of 3 stages and a boss, but each of those levels will be procedurally generated. So, for example, the Predator level, as people saw in the original prototype, the jam game, features bushes which act as cover and sort of inhibit your movement, things like that. And so each world will have like a few unique elements like that. But yeah, so we want to encourage people to replay it sort of over and over and over. And that's one of the ways that we're kind of supporting that. We're building a XP system in so that as long as you don't die, you can upgrade your character. A cash system so that you can buy and unlock new weapons and things, so there is a sort of a permanent progression sort of alongside that, so you don't like lose all of your progress just because you took an unlucky bullet. So originally you would have the 4 characters in the squad in the jungle, and you would be controlling them all together, a little bit like Zelda Force or something like that. But that was pretty much an imitation of the jam, the 8 hours that we had to make the original version. And we did include some co-op, so you could jump in as a second player and it would split the squad into pairs. We've gone for a more traditional 1 player, 1 character, but it's all about 4-player cooperative play, so we've kept that element in there. We're going for early access, and the one thing that we're making sure is in there is the proper full online.
At the moment you have a limited amount of playable characters in Tango Fiesta. With such a wide range of classic 80s action heroes out there, are you planning to include more in the future?
At the moment we've got 4. It's based off of John Matrix from Commando. We've got One guy based on Dylan, he's called Macmillan, of course. Sometimes you just go for the rhyme. We've got Miller, who's based on Mad Max, and a bionic policeman of some sort in there as well. But we're planning on doing a lot more. For early access, we're expecting to have maybe 6 characters, so if you've got 4 players, you've got a bit of choice between you. But for the final game, probably closer to 8 or 10 playable, and we'd really like it if you can play as the bosses as well. It's something we can do. If it's not fun, we won't.
So you're riffing on 80s films, you're riffing on Arnie and pals. Are you also going to include homages to famous movie weapons in there, like maybe the minigun from Predator or Robocop's pistol?
Absolutely, yeah. We've spent a lot of time, too much time really, on the Internet Movie Gun database or something like that. There's genuinely a big sort of wiki full of these weapons, and we rename things and we try and make them kind of humorous references rather than direct sort of lifts. But one of the most popular weapons on the show floor is the VCR, which is a pun I didn't intend. It's the Viper combat rifle, which is a riff on the Cobra assault cannon from Robocop.
With such a heavy emphasis on 80s movies, do you think you'll alienate some of the younger gamers, people who may not necessarily get all the nods to the source material?
I feel like it's not just going to appeal to people who were born in the 80s or grew up watching 80s movies, because the effect that they had, genuinely, it kind of echoed like way beyond that decade specifically. We had some people playing the game earlier and they were quoting quotes from They Live, but via Duke Nukem. They only knew them through Duke Nukem and things like that. And it's moments like that where you think, actually, there's a reason why this stuff is still loved so much. And I just hope we can kind of deliver on those expectations. It feels a little bit like games back then promised something, and we've, for better or worse, a lot of games these days do something else. You know, there's a lot of simulations and sandboxes and all this kind of thing, but this is just a pure sort of arcade action game, you and your friends against the world, and an awful lot of fun in the process.
Finally, Andrew, as someone who has made it in the industry, do you have any advice for wannabe game developers? I'm guessing you're a massive advocate of game jams.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's kind of, I am biased, but there's such a great way of meeting people to work with. You know, the pressure cooker environment it's not good for your heart, but it's good for building relationships and figuring out what you're good at, what to focus on, and you come up with ideas you never would if you just sat there with a blank piece of paper. You know, those constraints that they give you, the 8 hours, the forced title, you just come up with things you wouldn't have before. So I absolutely recommend it.
Thanks, Andrew. Right, it's time for me to get to the chopper. Oh, Christ, that was awful. It's time for me to leave. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, and if you're feeling really kind, subscribe to the channel by clicking on that on-screen annotation. We've got tons of exclusive content on the horizon, and by having us in your subscription feed, you'll see it all first. Right, I'm actually going to go now, but don't worry, because I'll be back. Oh, damn, I definitely need to stop doing Arnie impressions. Ugh.